with us along with my boss, Chief Al Brackett, and I am Officer Nate, for those of you who don't know me. Could you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? On behalf of the Atkinson Police Department and Atkinson Academy, I would like to thank you all for attending tonight's graduation ceremony. I would like to extend my personal thanks to you, the community, for your continued support and for allowing me to stand before you tonight. To all the parents, friends, families, school staff, our sponsors, and other members of our community, and most importantly to all of you, my students, I sincerely thank you. Tonight we celebrate their success as well as the success of this great community. Atkinson is fortunate enough to have the DARE program, a program that is often overlooked as school schedules get crammed, funding is cut, and personnel is down. Frankly, most schools and police departments simply aren't interested. For those of you who don't know, DARE stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education. It was started in the early 80s and was designed to integrate uniformed police officers in school, teaching children about the dangers of drugs, alcohol, tobacco, and violence. Although its curriculum has changed a number of times since then, its message is still the same. This is my second year teaching the program, and I can tell you that it is so much more than its acronym. Each Monday we talk about things such as communication skills, peer pressure, handling stress, resistance strategies, being a good citizen, and bullying, just to name a few. Being familiar with these topics and skills are instrumental if we expect them to lead a clean, safe, and responsible life. DARE is a program that I deeply care about and one that I'm proud to teach. These students are the future of our communities and our country. We must strive to teach them solid values, ethics, and to resist the negative pressures of today's society. They, after all, are this country's future. We as police officers handle problems. We resolve conflicts. We hold people accountable. We rarely get to see, however, the outcome of any given situation, the future product, if you will. We handle a situation and then it's off to the next one. We are, for the most part, a reactive arm of public service. DARE is different in that it is a proactive approach to an ever-growing problem. Knowing that I, a small-town police officer, have the opportunity to reach and impact each and every child in Atkinson is not a task I take lightly. It is, in fact, an honor. DARE gives me, a police officer, a brief chance to become a teacher, a mentor, and a friend. It's a chance to try and influence them beforehand to quite simply stay away from the bad stuff. Although I am in uniform, being in the school with the kids is also a time that I can leave the serious policeman at the door and frankly just be a goofball with them. I say a goofball because I may or may not have gotten them into trouble once or twice for being too loud, especially in Mr. Shawley's class. Being a DARE officer wasn't something I ever wanted to become, but I sure have grown to love it. Seeing all of you here before me today about to get your certificates is what makes it all worth it. It makes it all worth it because for the past 10 weeks or so, working with all of you has been the most challenging, fun, and rewarding experience in my career. As much as I hope you've learned from me, you will never know it, but I've learned even more from you. We as adults know the dangers of drugs and alcohol and have far too many times seen the consequences of poor decisions, as well as the devastating and inexcusable loss due to violence in our communities. It is crucial we educate and guide our children to be the best citizens they can be, to be a role model for others. As parents, friends, and family, teachers, and police officers, the amount of influence we have on them is immeasurable. I congratulate you for the hard work you already do at home. I ask that you only continue to lead by example and to never lose sight of what's important. To the teachers and staff, I thank you. to let me into your classrooms, to fit me into your busy schedules, to trust me with them, I thank you. I've personally seen the work you do in your classrooms, your dedication and your patience, and to be honest, I envy you. Being an educator is not easy. I had them for 45 minutes once a week for 10 weeks. I was like the grandparent that could just give them back. But this is your full-time career. This is your passion, and I applaud you for your service. To Principal Deotis, Atkinson Academy couldn't ask for a better leader. I thank you for the opportunity you so graciously afforded me. Your leadership, integrity, and forthright attitude are skills every administrator should mirror. Your support for the DARE program does not go unnoticed. This town and this district is fortunate to have you. Chief Brackett, my new boss, is by no means new to police work, but he is new to Atkinson. For the short time I've worked for him, I've seen his leadership skills, his integrity, his commitment to the community, to public safety as a whole, and to our DARE program. With staffing levels already low and officers working extra shifts, having me off the road once a week was not easy. I appreciate your patience and your support. Lastly, to my students, I first must say that I'm sad our time is over. For one, I need to go back doing real police work on Mondays. But more importantly, and all joking aside, out of the 9 years in this profession, the time I've spent as a DARE officer is by far the best time I've had as a cop. One of you once left the question in the DARE box, do you think we're cray-cray? For those of you that don't know, that means crazy in 5th grade. But to answer your question emphatically, yes. I do think you are very crazy, but in the most imaginative, humorous, and creative ways possible. Each and every one of you at some time or another has made me smile. For the past 10 weeks, Mondays were by far my favorite day to go to work. Together we've done so much, and you've done so much. When I see you in the years to come, I may not have Darren with me, as he tends to hibernate in the summer, but it will be my pleasure to talk with you and see how you're doing. I'm looking forward to seeing the outcome of all your hard work that you've shown me in the years to come, wherever life may bring you. Just don't ever let me catch you speeding. I ask that you always remember our lessons and all that we've covered. All of your opinions, your discussions, our skits, and your participation is what made it all work. Although I'm still convinced the participation was just for the candy. I want you all to know that I'll always be here if you ever want to talk, need advice, or simply want to say hi. I'm a police officer, yes, but more importantly, I am and always will be your DARE officer. Lastly, I challenge you. I dare you, if you will. I dare you to do the right thing. In a few months, you'll go to middle school and then high school, and wherever you venture from there, things will get harder and more challenging. Life is challenging. I dare you to do the right thing. Have a mind of your own, a voice of your own. Be your own person, stick up for yourself and for others. I dare you to be a leader, not a follower. The right thing to do is always the hardest. Always walk with your head held high. I've never been a statistics type person, so I won't bore you with them. But I will share this, 1%. Ever since I became a DARE officer, I've always thought and told myself, as much as I'd like to think it, DARE will not work for everyone. But if just one of you stays away from drugs or alcohol because of what I've taught you, then I've succeeded. I thank you all for coming, and please enjoy the rest of the night. I'd like to now introduce my boss, Chief Brackett. Careful what you tell.
He's a hard act to follow. I know that when I first came to the police department, it didn't have anything to do with placing him in the DARE program, but I've watched him since I've been here, and listening to him tonight, he's obviously committed to the program, and I'm proud that he represents the police department. First of all, and I'll keep it short tonight, first of all, I would like to thank the principal, Kathy Diotis, for her continued support of the DARE program and the partnership between the police department and the school district. I really appreciate it. Next, I'd like to thank the 5th grade teachers, Mr. Shawley, Mrs. Kamaya, Mrs. Habib, and Mrs. Torelli, for their participation and support of the program. I think they've done a great job with that. I'd like to just take a couple of minutes to talk to the parents about the value of the DARE program. I know that after listening to Officer Lyons, you believe that, as he does, that the program's essential in our school. I've been involved in law enforcement for over 38 years. The majority of my time in law enforcement I spent in the state of Florida. I worked undercover in narcotics for several years. I've seen the devastation and the consequences of drug abuse to young children and also to families, and how it can ruin your whole life. And I think the kids, the program that Nate teaches here at the school sends an important message, and the message is basically about making good decisions and the consequences of making bad decisions. I think if you look at the current drug epidemic we're having throughout the whole country, you watch it every night on the news, it's no secret, heroin epidemic is back again. I don't think it makes any difference what the drug is. It seems to cycle itself. It used to be heroin several years ago, and that changed to other drugs. And now you see our politicians, you see our leaders in healthcare and in law enforcement, and they're all trying to scramble for an answer. Well, I can tell you that in 38 years of law enforcement, when I worked 30 years ago in Hudson, New Hampshire, we started the DARE program as they did here in Atkinson, and I think it makes a difference. I think having an education program as part of the curriculum is the only real impact we're going to have on drugs. I think prevention and education is the answer. If you look at all of the other things that we've done, we're again scrambling to get an answer to the problem. I think the Atkinson Academy has got it right by teaching all these fifth graders the consequences of drug use and abuse. And I only hope that eventually it will expand throughout the school system so that they get the message right until they graduate. Lastly, I'd like to thank the fifth graders. Officer Nate tells me that you guys are a bunch of fantastic students, that you've listened to him well this year, and I want to congratulate all of you for doing a great job, and I hope that you keep the message that he gave you. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
The DARE program essentially has two sponsors. The police department funds a little bit of the program, small things, pencils, erasers, stickers, stuff that I can bring the kids. Essentially, we have two sponsors, Freshwater Farms and Atkinson Graphics. These are two local sponsors that I personally go to every year, that we have been going to, and when funding is low, for Atkinson Graphics and Freshwater Farms to team up and flip the bill for their t-shirts and to embroider them and print them. We'd like to just ask them to come up for a little certificate of appreciation. I do apologize, Senator Morse, the owner of Freshwater Farms, is not here tonight. I believe the legislature was in session today, so he was probably tied up with that. But I would like to congratulate Atkinson Graphics. Dave Tremblay is here. Thank you. I'd like to now ask the fifth grade teachers to come up. Again, as I stated before, I envy their work. Some of you that aren't in the schools, you don't know the hard work that they give out. They're busy enough to fit me into their schedules because they believe in the program, and I just want to applaud them. And now I'd just like to ask Principal Deotis to come up and say a few words.
You didn't tell me I had to talk. What can I say? This has been a great experience for the kids. They've done an exceptional job. I hope I don't read about any of them in the paper in the future. That's my goal. I do want to thank the teachers because they've done an excellent job, and Mr. Tremblay and Senator Morse for their support, because without that we couldn't probably have DARE. But I think it's always been a success story for us, so I hope that we can continue it, and I think with Chief Brackett that we'll be able to continue our partnership and have it again next year. So congratulations.
Thank you. So every year, at the end of DARE, towards the end of DARE, the students are essentially given one homework assignment. All their work is in-class work. They don't really have to do anything at home, but they are required or asked to write an essay. And the essay essentially encompasses what they've learned throughout DARE. Every year, I pick one essay winner from each class, and they get to read it in front of you, and they get a small token of my appreciation. They were all very good. Unfortunately, there is only one winner from each class, and I'd like to ask them to come up on stage. For Mrs. Kameyer's class, the winner is Maria Heim. For Mrs. Torelli's class, the winner is Trevor Baggett. For Mr. Shawley's class, the winner was Katie Lonergan. And for Mrs. Habib's class, the winner was Brandon Musgrave. So, from Mrs. Kameyer's class, Maria Heim.
My Dare Report by Maria Heim. I dare to be different. I will not make bad decisions when I'm tempted. DARE stands for Drug Abuse Resistance in Education. It also stands for a lot of other things. Learning about DARE has started to prepare me for an awesome future. This future I speak of will include a responsible decision-making process. I will use all of what I have learned when faced with tough times or sticky situations. These choices will make me have a great future without all the bad things. The choices I will make in the future will include not smoking and not using tobacco. I will not take drugs or drink alcohol irresponsibly. In DARE, I have learned the rules of smoking, tobacco, and alcohol usage, and learned that it is bad for you. I will not smoke because your lungs can turn black. I have learned how to use the DARE decision-making model to guide me through situations. The DARE decision-making model stands for describe, assess, respond, and evaluate. In my life, I have used the DARE decision-making model to work on the situations they give me in my book, and I've also learned how to use it in real life when I come across tough times. When I have tough times, I think to myself what the DARE decision-making model stands for. Then I go on with my dilemma. After every DARE lesson, we go into our books to the journal entries. The journal entries are based on what we learned that day in DARE. And a new choice, that we would make in the future. In DARE, I have also learned how to be brave and face problems, not run away from them. I've also learned what stuff to stick to and what not to. DARE is not only about resisting drugs and alcohol, it's also about not bullying, ways to be in charge, communicating effectively, and handling signs of stress. All those skills are very useful. I learned to be confident in my answer and not unsure or demanding. I think that every kid in the world should be involved in DARE. Studying DARE give kids guidance to stay away from the temptations of drugs, alcohol, tobacco, and other bad behavior. The lessons I learned studying DARE sound easy, but I know at times they may be hard to do. This means no drugs, no smoking, no drinking alcoholic beverages irresponsibly, and no bullying. I'm Maria Heim, and I approve this message.
And for Mrs. Torelli's class, Trevor Baggett.
My DARE Report by Trevor Baggett. Did you ever do DARE at your school? Well, if you didn't, this is what it's like. A police officer comes to your school and teaches you the differences between good and bad. Some things you learn in DARE is stuff that will help you for your whole entire life. The two things you learn first is what DARE means and the DARE decision-making model. DARE means drugs, abuse, resistance, and education. The DARE decision-making model stands for define, assess, respond, and evaluate. Other stuff you learn is what's good for your body and what you can't have until you reach a certain age. It also teaches you what not to do, like bully, take drugs, and why not to smoke. Some of the ways I use the DARE decision-making model is how to solve problems and how to avoid bad situations. Also to think before I do. Some of the stuff I learned helps me to make right choices in life. It tells me what to do and what not to do. Some stuff is way more important than you think. That is what I learned in DARE, how I have used the DARE decision-making model, and how I plan to use what I learned to make responsible choices in my life.
And for Mr. Charlie's class, Katie Lonergan.
All About DARE by Katie Lonergan. You're probably thinking, what does an 11-year-old girl with red glasses know about drugs and alcohol? Before the DARE program, I would have had the same question. When I started the DARE program, I thought it would just be an Atkinson police officer giving information that I know. Thought it'd be that drugs hurt your body, cigarettes are bad for your lungs, and drinking underage is illegal. I was very wrong. DARE, also known as Drug Abuse Resistance Education, taught me how, when, and why to resist temptation. I learned that it is important to stick up for what you believe in. Whether it's my best friend or someone I envy giving me peer pressure, I'll use the DARE decision-making model. According to the DARE decision-making model, first I have to define the problem, or figure out the problem. An example would be, there is alcohol at this party. Then I need to assess the problem by thinking about my choices. I could call my parents to come and get me, or I could drink like all the other kids are. Afterwards, I'll need to respond by choosing one of my options. I think I'll call my parents to come and get me. Finally, I'm going to want to ask myself, did I make a good decision? Why or why not? I would say I did make the right decision because I'm not old enough to drink. If you don't feel comfortable with what someone is doing or asking you to do, then I'd suggest you decline confidently. You may want to avoid the situation, use humor, state a fact, change the subject, or simply say no to decline an offer. I myself would probably choose to say something funny. I find humor works best. Also, if you see someone getting bullied or you are getting bullied, say stop and tell an adult. But remember, never use your fists. The most important thing DARE taught me is it's okay to stand up for yourself and never be afraid doing so. After all, you are the only person who can really control you. So as DARE comes to an end, I am looking back at everything I learned. There are a lot of valuable lessons in DARE, a lot of things I can use in the future. Even though not everyone will use this information, I know this 11-year-old girl with the red glasses will use it, and it will help me make the right decisions so that I can become the fabulous adult I plan on being. And remember to always be keeping it real.
Last but not least, from Mrs. Habib's class, Brandon Musgrave.
My Dare Report by Brandon Musgrave. Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't know what to do? I know I may be in a situation like that. I will know what to do because of something called the DARE decision-making model. What is DARE, you might ask? DARE stands for Drug, Abuse, Resistance, and Education. It is a program taught to kids about the dangers of drugs and alcohol, smoking, and tobacco. It also teaches us how to make good decisions in all kinds of situations, where doing the right thing is sometimes not a popular decision. We do this by using the DARE decision-making model. D stands for define the problem. A stands for assess your different choices you can make. R stands for respond with your answer or choice. And E stands for evaluate your decision. For example, I would define a problem I had one day. A friend of mine was going through the classroom taking pencils and erasers out of other students' desks. When the kids returned to their desks, they noticed they were missing things. The teacher asked if anyone knew who did it, they should come talk to her later and tell her. My friend asked me not to say anything and that he was going to tell the teacher someone else did it. Next, I had to assess what my options were. I could tell the teacher, but my friend would get mad at me, or I could say nothing at all and let him blame someone else. I responded by deciding to tell the teacher the truth. It was the right thing to do, and I couldn't let an innocent student get blamed. When I evaluate my decision, I think I made a good choice. I knew my friend would be mad at me, but doing the right thing is more important. Besides, I don't want a friend that wants me to make bad choices or lie for them. I know that there will be more situations in my life where I will have to use the DARE decision-making model. I know that someday I may be asked to try drugs or alcohol, and saying no will be easy. I learned that making good decisions is very important because it only takes one bad decision to mess up your life.
Moment they've probably all been waiting for. The presentation of the certificates to the graduates. So could we start with Mrs. Kameyer's class?
Frankie Ahern. Caden Bilcliff. Andrew Davis. Lauren D'Italia. Cassandra DeLeggi. Caitlin Finneran. Gabrielle Garceau. Michael Gianelli. Sophia Godinez. Maria Hine. Raymond Lipfert. Brady Mason. Tess Osborne. Shauna Ruth. Devin Simmons. And Michael Stevenson.
Bella Ashford. Cole Babson. Monica Begroja. Alex Casmay. Jordan Christian. Amber Farrell. Olivia Hosterman. Liam Kennedy. Olivia Lacreta. Haley Lassard. Adam McClellan. Sydney Monahan. Brendan Moody. Brandon Musgrave. Cameron Noyes. Jake Silva. Steven Spiro. And Ryan Torres.
In Mr. Shawley's class,
Max Beckerman. Ben Colburn. Caitlin Downing. Cooper Durkee. Brianna Freza. Caitlin Jean Gregorio. Matt Gover. Sophia Lakin. Katie Larnigan. Carly Murphy. Lauren Oliver. Andrew Plensis. Sam Rady. Brady Rue. Hannah Salisbury. And Dan Slayton.
and last but not least, Mrs. Torelli.
Wes Anderson. Trevor Baggett. Shayla Benecki. Reagan Blomquist. Kaylin Burns. Ava Capetta. Jack Hadwin. Madeline Harwood. Ryan Hogan. Jaden Lee. Kiara Mason. Jacob Meddy. Sean Malvidas. Kim Moore. Sky Priest. Michael Riccio. Cameron Rulo. Gianna Russo. And Olivia Winslow.
One last round of applause for the 5th grade class. And for the last certificate of appreciation, probably screwed this one up before, but to a great vice principal, it has come to my attention that he's accepted a position with another district in Drake, Mass. So we all wish him the best of luck. But I'd like to congratulate Vice Principal Chris Snyder.
This night is certainly not about me, so I didn't intend for that to be the case. But it's really hard for me to talk about this. I'm excited, but I'm certainly not going to let go of Atkinson Academy very easily. So this is about opportunities, and just seemed to be the right opportunity at the right time. However, Atkinson Academy will always be a very special place to me, so I want you to know that. And I will always treasure the fact that you're willing to entrust your children, your precious cargo, to someone like me to be part of their leadership. So that's all that I really want to say, probably all that I can say at this point. But so I guess the cat's out of the bag. Thank you.
He doesn't know what he's getting himself in for.
That concludes our DARE program. I thank you all for coming, and another round of applause for the 5th graders. But thank you all for coming.